The most surprising insight is that muscles heal shorter, not longer. During sleep and recovery, the repair process naturally ratchets muscles into a slightly contracted state, which is why stretching at night can counteract this tendency and improve long-term flexibility and leverage. Section 1. The 60-40 training split and why you can't train long and hard. Cavaliere recommends a foundational 60-40 split. 3 days of strength training Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and 2 days of conditioning Tuesday, Thursday, for anyone seeking both performance and aesthetics. He emphasizes that you can either train long or you can train hard, but you can't do both. As people age, workout length becomes more problematic than intensity. Cavaliere has found that his warm-up has become more integral to his routine than ever before. He advises keeping workouts under an hour when possible, noting that total body splits naturally require more time, but can still be efficient if you focus on overall health rather than isolated muscle obsession. The key is adherence. A split not done is not effective, so choose a structure that fits your schedule and preferences. Section 2. Splits, bro splits, and the synergy principle. Cavaliere defines a bro split as training one muscle group per day, which he says is more geared toward aesthetics than strength. While science shows smarter approaches exist today, bro splits still work because people enjoy the focused pump and simplicity. He personally prefers push-pull leg splits because they group similar muscle actions together, creating synergy. If you train pulling movements, your biceps get stimulated on back day and again 2 days later, maximizing frequency without overtraining. This can be done as a 3-day cycle, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or a 6-day cycle, repeating the sequence twice weekly. The choice depends on whether you want predictable rest days or prefer training 6 consecutive days. Cavaliere notes that the shifting rest day in a 7-day schedule can mess with people who crave routine, so some prefer to train 6 straight days and rest on Sunday. Section 3. Cardiovascular training, blending modalities, and the distraction of challenge. Cavaliere places cardio at the end of weight training sessions to avoid compromising lifting intensity. Even if fatigue lowers output during post-workout cardio, the cardiac demand still achieves conditioning goals. He advocates blending strength and conditioning rather than strict separation, using burpees, push-ups, and footwork drills, ladders, line drills instead of just jogging. Cavaliere says people become intrigued by the challenge of footwork drills they haven't tried since high school, and this distraction makes conditioning more engaging. He notes that when you're able to blend some of that strength training into the exercise, you get crossover benefits and maintain an anaerobic component that pure steady-state cardio lacks. The minimum effective dose is twice weekly, but serious conditioning goals require more frequent sessions, often on the same day as lifting. Section 4. The Cavaliere cramp test and mind-muscle connection. Cavaliere developed what Huberman calls the Cavaliere test. If you can flex a muscle to the point of cramping or near cramping, you'll likely stimulate it well under load if you're doing the movement properly. Cavaliere arrived at this by seeking out which muscle was supposed to be working during his workouts, even as a young kid. He discovered that his ability to contract his bicep varied across exercises. He could do it during a curl with his arm up, but not during a concentration curl or cable curl. This clued him into the fact that mind-muscle connection varies exercise by exercise. He introduced the term muscularity, the resting tone in a muscle that improves dramatically when you learn to engage it neurologically. Cavaliere says if you don't feel the discomfort, then you're doing something wrong when trying to create hypertrophy. He admits he still struggles with certain muscle groups, but emphasizes that deliberate practice yields results. Section 5. Recovery metrics, grip strength, and the bathroom scale test. Different muscles recover at different rates, and Cavaliere uses muscle soreness as a local guideline. Training when really sore is probably not a great idea. For systemic recovery, he relies on grip strength, a metric he used with the New York Mets. In spring training, they established baseline grip measurements and tracked them every 2 to 3 weeks throughout the season. Cavaliere recommends using an old-fashioned bathroom scale. Squeeze it with your hands and track the output. He offers a vivid example. When you first wake up in the morning, you're still groggy. Try to squeeze your hand. Try to make a fist as hard as you can. You're going to sit there angry at your fist because it won't contract as hard as you know it can. A drop-off of 10% or more in grip output means you should skip the gym that day. While hand grip dynamometers are more sophisticated, they cost $200 to $300, worthwhile for athletes, but the bathroom scale works for most people. Section 6. Stretching timing, healing shorter, and the length-tension relationship. Cavaliere distinguishes passive stretching, increasing flexibility by decreasing resistance to length, from dynamic stretching, readying muscles for performance. Passive stretching should be done far from workouts because it disrupts the length-tension relationship and recalibrates stored motor engrams, your body's efficiency patterns for movements like a golf swing. This recalibration can impair performance for a hole or two, or a few sets in the gym. He recommends passive stretching at the end of the day because the muscular repair process tends to heal muscles shorter, not longer. Muscles prefer to ratchet down into contraction during sleep. Introducing length or decreased resistance to length at night promotes better recovery and maintains leverage. Dynamic stretching, leg swings, butt kicks, walking lunges, explores range of motion without hanging out at end ranges, warming up blood flow and nervous system readiness. Cavaliere recalls Antonio Brown spending 20 to 30 minutes on dynamic work before every session, saying he didn't feel ready otherwise. Brown's dynamic routine would be a workout for most people. Section 7. The upright row problem, external rotation, and the high pull alternative. Cavaliere identifies the upright row as biomechanically problematic because it forces shoulder elevation in internal rotation, the exact position used in the Hawkins-Kennedy impingement test that physical therapists use for diagnosis. The shoulder's rotator cuff is the only muscle group that externally rotates the shoulder, and everyday life heavily favors internal rotation, creating imbalance. Raising your arm overhead from an internally rotated position increases stress inside the joint. Some argue they've done upright rows for 30 years without injury, but Cavaliere counters with yet. The goal is to never hurt yourself. He offers the high pull as an alternative, hands higher than elbows, external rotation, instead of elbows higher than hands, internal rotation. This simple biomechanical fix delivers the same shoulder and trap benefits without the impingement risk. He extends this principle to the hip, which mirrors the shoulder in mobility and stability needs. Training external rotation at both joints is essential for long-term joint health and performance. Section 8. Grip depth, elbow pain, and the FDS muscle. Huberman credits Cavaliere with eliminating his elbow pain by teaching him to grip bars and weights in the meat of the palm, rather than letting them drift into the fingertips. Cavaliere explains that on pulling exercises, gravity and fatigue cause the bar to drift distally toward the last knuckles. While the hand can still hold the weight there, the muscles, particularly the flexor digitorum superficialis (FDS) of the fourth finger, are ill-equipped to handle those loads. This muscle inserts at the medial elbow, and overload creates medial epicondylitis, golfer's elbow, one of the most common gym-related inflammatory conditions. The FDS might only handle 30 pounds, but if you're a 200-pound person doing chin-ups and the bar drifts into your fingertips, you're asking that muscle to manage 100 pounds per arm. Cavaliere says it's not going to take many repetitions to strain it. Gripping deeper in the palm uses leverage to encapsulate the bar and eliminates distal pressure. If pain occurs, avoid pulling exercises temporarily and switch to cable curls or other controlled movements. Section 9. Nutrition, the plate method, and sustainable non-exclusionary eating. Cavaliere describes himself as a low-sugar, lower-fat person, but opposes exclusionary diets, eliminating carbs or eating only fats and proteins, unless they're the first thing that gave someone control and results. He believes non-exclusionary approaches are most sustainable for life. His plate method divides a plate like a clock. The largest portion, 9 to 12 to 8, is fibrous carbohydrates: broccoli, Brussels sprouts, asparagus for micronutrients, fiber and satiety. The next portion is protein, fish or chicken with sauce or tomato to make it palatable, never boiled chicken. The smallest portion is starchy carbohydrates, sweet potatoes, rice, pasta, because my body craves those carbohydrates and excluding them isn't sustainable. Cavaliere insists that no plan works if you're eating food you don't like. He's not dogmatic about pre- or post-workout meals, but recommends protein surrounding training. If pre-workout protein causes digestive issues and slogs your workout, move it post-workout. The urgency of nutrient timing has been debunked. The ultimate goal is maintaining high output, so whatever nutrition allows, that is most important. Cavaliere and Huberman agree that the thing that works for you is really the most important thing, because getting your ass in there and doing what you do is really the thing that provides the best benefit. Key takeaways: train 3 days strength and 2 days conditioning as a baseline 60-40 split. Choose a split you'll actually stick to. Adherence trumps optimization. Place cardio after lifting to preserve intensity. Use grip strength as a systemic recovery metric. A 10% drop means skip the gym. Passive stretch at night to counter muscles healing shorter during sleep. Avoid upright rows. Use high pulls with hands above elbows for external rotation. Grip bars in the meat of your palm to prevent medial elbow pain. Use the plate method. Largest portion fibrous carbs, next protein, smallest starchy carbs. Non-exclusionary diets are most sustainable. Whatever nutrition allows you to train hard consistently is what matters most.